parents and Kenyatta, did you see the movie that explained your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what your rights are?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about them?
No.
All right. We're here today for a probable cause hearing to determine whether or not Kenyatta has committed a delinquent act, and if so, whether or not she should be released or detained here at the detention center. Mr. Ruck, have you read the preliminary inquiry filed by the police department?
I have, Judge.
And do you have any issue as to probable cause?
We don't.
This young lady is charged with runaway, is that right?
Correct.
All right. Do you have any witnesses that you would like to present on her behalf?
Judge, I have two. First, I would like to call Kenyatta to the stand, please.
All right. Kenyatta, have a seat up here, please.
Tell me your name, please.
Kenyatta Durr.
How old are you?
I'm 17 years old.
When were you last in school?
When my daughter was a couple of months old.
What's the last grade in school that you completed, Kenyatta?
10th grade.
When was your daughter born?
February 4th.
Of 2008?
Yes, sir.
So when your daughter was born, were you in school during the time that you were pregnant?
Yes.
How were your grades?
They were okay. I had trouble in math a little bit, but they were okay and decent. It was okay.
So you're in high school, you're pregnant,
Yes.
you stay in school, you give birth, and then you still stay in school, correct?
Yeah.
For how long?
Up until April, I stopped going because I felt like I couldn't do it anymore, so I chose to get my GED.
Is it also true that you focus to provide adequate care for your newborn child?
Yes.
What's your educational plan at this point?
Well, I chose to get my GED whenever school starts so I can enroll my daughter in daycare. So I have to make an appointment for that so the state can pay for it.
Talk to me about the care responsibilities you have for your daughter. How much time you spend each day with your daughter?
Well, since I don't go out as much as I used to unless I'm with my boyfriend, but I stay in the house. I don't even go nowhere. So I be with her 24/7 unless she's with her grandmother.
Is that your mother?
No, her biological father, mom.
Okay. Does your daughter have a relationship with your mother?
Yes, their relationship is good. Her relationship is good with everybody in the family.
Okay. Kenyatta, you're charged with running away. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you understand the purpose of today's court hearing is for the court to determine whether or not you should be released to go home with your mother today or whether some other type of placement is appropriate. Yes?
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes.
Kenyatta, what is your opinion as to what should happen with you when we leave here today?
Well, I feel like I should go home because I have made progress. Yes, I slipped up, but I have making progress of finding a job or getting back in school and trying to enroll my daughter in daycare. So it's not like I'm running the streets because I don't go anywhere.
This isn't the first time that you've run away. Is that right?
No.
How do you then explain the fact that you've previously been in the same situation and presumably learned your lesson then, yet you're back here again now?
Well, when I was 14, 15, I was actually running away and acting bad, acting out in school, and disobeying my parents. This time, I just felt like I needed to vent and be by myself or away from everybody. I don't consider that running away because I have somewhere to stay. Either I go back home or I'll be at my godmother's house. So it was just the whole thing was a misunderstanding.
Well, tell us what happened.
Well, before it all started, I was sneaking my boyfriend in my parents' house with them telling me not to.
Now, is this the father of your child?
No, this is my boyfriend. And I was disobeying them. And they said I had the choice. If I could follow the rules, I can stay. And if I didn't follow the rules, I had to go. So I chose to leave and go live with my godparent, my godmom. And when I moved there, I was sometimes checking up on them and telling my mom when Kamaya had an eye appointment in Indianapolis and tell her about the job for Popeyes and stuff and getting myself together. I think it started Monday. Me, my boyfriend, and my cousin had the baby, and we was out all night. We didn't call nobody. I think Tuesday, I dropped my daughter off at her grandmother's house because I was getting agitated with her. This is not my first time getting agitated, so I
Agitated with your mother?
No, my mom had nothing to do with this. It was my daughter. She was sleepy, I was getting cranky, everything. So we was out late, and the closest place was her grandmother's house. So I took her there. After that, I just spent time with my boyfriend and my cousin. We didn't call nobody or let them know it was okay. So of course, they're gonna make them reports because they didn't know where we was at or I didn't call anybody.
Why not? Why didn't you call your mother and say, I'm not coming home tonight. Mom, your granddaughter is with your godparent. Why wouldn't you have called your mom to let her know that?
At that time, I wasn't thinking like that. I just wanted to be away from everybody at that time. So I didn't think like that. I just needed some me time, away from the baby, away from everything.
Well, Kenyatta, since I think a large part of what you're telling us and a large part of what the outcome of today's hearing is likely to be is going to involve what your mother has to say. And I don't know that you've had a chance to talk with her since you've been in here in detail about what happened. Do you have anything you want to say to her to influence her decision as to whether or not she thinks you should come home with her today?
Well, I know your big issue is for me to, number one, get my education. And you already know I will go get my GED. That's not a problem. The being disrespectful, cussing you out, when we get into it, I know I do it. Everybody does it. Following the rules, I can follow the rules. I just have my moments. Those are the big two issues for you, and I know that. I have been making progress in following my attitudes and just overall, from the past 2 years, I was really acting a fool. Now, I have changed. This time, it's not as, well, I can't say how big of a deal, it was just a misunderstanding. And with my mom, she think I'm on games or playing mind games and stuff like that, and it's nothing like that. Them other times, yeah, it was. When I was 14, 15, it was. I was on my games and wanted everything my way and having attitudes. But this time, I really have changed. I just have my moments sometimes. I can follow the rules, and sometimes I chose not to. That's all.
Kenyatta, if the court were to decide that you shouldn't be released, who would take care of your child?
Her grandma and my mom. And that's another thing too. I have a child, I'm 17, and it's hard because you're dealing with emotional issues with the child and stuff like that.
Is the child's father in your daughter's life at all?
Yeah, he has help with his mom and his brother.
But certainly you feel that you need to be there on a daily basis to make sure that all of her needs are met, correct?
Yes.
And you would agree that the court releasing you today on your word that you'll return to all future hearings would be the best case scenario for you?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, that's all I have.
Mrs. Guzik?
Kenyatta, when you left your mother's home on Monday with the baby, who were you with?
My boyfriend and my cousin. I call her my cousin because we.
And what day did you then drop the baby off at her paternal grandmother's home?
The next day.
Tuesday?
Yes, ma'am.
Where had you been with that baby all night?
Over my cousin's house. We spent the night over there because it was late, and we was coming from the park and in East Chicago visiting friends. So we took her to her grandmother's house before her grandma was going to work. So she was there with her uncle. Her oldest uncle is 18 or 19.
Is that a habit of yours to take this baby and drop it off at different places?
No, that is not a habit. No. Mm-mm.
And how old's your boyfriend?
He's 18.
Is he in school?
No, he's going to get his GED.
Well, when was the last time he was in school?
The last time he was in his GED, I guess I have to say, I could say probably April or May. I'm not for sure.
He was in GED in April or May?
Yes, ma'am.
He didn't complete it?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
That I don't know of.
Are you seeing a pattern here? You're not detecting a pattern of doing things in your life that isn't in your best interest?
But I can't look at what he doing. I got to do for me. Yeah, we going together, but I can only tell him so much. I can't worry about him. I got to worry about me and my baby and me going to get my GED classes. I can tell him, well, you need to go get your GED, but I'm concerned about me. I'm not concerned that I can tell him so much. People going to do what they want to do.
I understand that, but I want you to focus on that because maybe the best thing isn't for you to hitch your wagon to his horse.
My mom.
Because he doesn't seem like he's progressing the way he should be either.
It's argumentative.
Sustained.
I have no further questions, Judge.
Anything else, Mr. Ross?
Nothing, Judge.
All right, Kenyatta, you may have a seat back there. Next witness,
Judge, I'm going to call Kim Foster to the stand.
Ms. Foster.
You are Kenyatta's mother, is that right? Okay, and how old is Kenyatta now?
Kenyatta, 17.
Kenyatta's charged with running away.
Yes.
You have custody of Kenyatta, correct?
Yes.
And you are the person who she ran away from, correct?
Yes.
So the court can get at least a better understanding of who Kenyatta is. Tell us a little bit about as her mother. Tell us about your daughter. Tell us about, going back a few years maybe, about how she is as a daughter, improvements that she's made, struggles that she's had in her life that may help the court to understand what brings us here today.
Well, she's always had issues. I've always tried to address those issues through the school systems because we're just not really getting into court. So most of the time I addressed her issues through school, through talking to her, trying to do the best with the knowledge that I have of doing and being the best mom I possibly could. Not all my decisions were all good. But as I matured and got older, I made changes for all the children, not just Kenyatta. Kenyatta has traits from her biological father.
What kind of traits?
Stealing, lying, drugs, not trustworthy, selfish, those type of behaviors.
Was her father involved in her life?
No, not at all. And that's why genetics is something serious, because he wasn't involved, but she has all the traits of him and what he does. My thing for Kenyatta is that I need for her to focus on her. She stated that she was going to, but I fought with her in April to get her go back to school. It's hard to fight with a 17-year-old. You don't want to battle with them. She wouldn't go back to school. Yeah, she was taking care of her baby. So I worked hard trying to get her into a GED program. Due to the budget cuts, they won't allow a 17-year-old to go during the daytime. So that makes it hard for me because me and my husband both work. I didn't want her in the home during the day. That's just not where a child is supposed to be. Free time all day and then you go to school at night. That's not what she needs.
What does she need?
She needs structure. She needs guidance. Unfortunately for Kenyatta, she needs more attention than I can give her at the home because we both work. Now, I don't want to say a normal 17-year-old is more trustworthy, but during the patterns and the behaviors that Kenyatta exhibits, she needs more of a structured environment with more, I want to be nice about it, but she just needs that more structure. She needs more confinement and not to be able to go and be free. Now, to the point where we are now, it started with being disrespectful with me. Her dad spoke to her that same day, don't have this man in our home while we're at work. We had to double back to go get his phone, and she's running across the yard with this young man. Not only did the prior week she cuss me out, disrespectful, trying to take over certain things in the house, but then you're gonna turn around and be blatantly disrespectful again by not following our rules.
So what you're saying happened is, you gave Kenyatta very specific rules, don't have this guy in the house.
Exactly,
You and your husband leave, Kenyatta thinks you guys are leaving.
yes,
You forget a cell phone, you turn
Yes.
back, when you get home,
yes,
the boyfriend's leaving.
yes.
Okay.
He's coming in, he's not leaving, he's coming in.
Okay. So
Um,
that's an example, certainly, of Kenyatta, would you agree, trying to test the limits of your rules?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or just not caring. It's all personal, it's all about me.
And then how do we get from that point, and that incident, which I understand certainly is something that you don't appreciate, and no parent would appreciate, to have a child sneaking somebody into the house when they were told not to. But how do we transfer from that incident to Kenyatta running away?
Okay. After that, we lay down the law. Either you abide by our rules or you need to go somewhere else. Well, the person that's her godmother works with me. So we were gonna work something out, give you a little yada, a little time to air out, get herself together, and she could come back home. But prior to her packing up and leaving, I said, yada, you don't have to go. Stay. I said, but just abide by our rules. She chose to go and be with her godmother. It's fine. I know where you're at. You're safe. We'll work this out.
So when, at the time that she left, you would give her an option of stay and abide by your rules,
Yes.
or leave.
Yes.
And she chose to leave.
Yes.
And you were okay with that. In fact, you presented her with that as an option.
Exactly, because I trusted that person and I knew she would be safe with that person.
Okay.
And because sometimes you need a little space with your family, knowing that she was going to take care of her baby and that the individual was trustworthy enough for her to stay there and that she had room for her.
But Ms. Foster, my question is, at the time when Kenyatta left,
Yes.
that was an option that you presented to her, leaving.
Yes.
Okay, so she didn't leave the house without your permission, did she?
No, she didn't, because I gave her an option. I said, you abide by the rules or you can go.
You gave her a choice.
I gave her a choice.
Okay. She elected to leave,
Exactly.
and then at some point you called the police and reported her as a runaway.
Okay, now, this is the other part. Now, the person that she was staying with was supposed to be the better person. She's understanding, she's younger, she can deal with me.
The godmother.
The godmother. But she disrespected the godmother. She didn't call, she didn't check in, she didn't do anything. So the same pattern with me, she did with the godmother. So
How long had Kenyatta been out of your home and in the godmother's home before you called the police?
3 days.
So 3 days go by,
Yes.
and then what happens that changes your mind and you
Because she
decide to call the
didn't
police?
call. She didn't call. And I expected a day, maybe a night. On the third day, I actually found that she had left the baby with the grandmother.
Now, is this the godmother or the grandmother?
The grandmother,
Okay.
the babe's mother. And I knew then that they were just on the run. They were, and she neglected to say, drinking, smoking, partying, having a good time. And that's not what I wanted for her. So she's not abiding by my rules. She's not abiding by the godmother's rules. So now I need to step in and I have to do something to keep her safe, along with keeping the baby safe. And the pattern has to stop. And it was neglectful for me of not maybe to call on the second day. But I'm trying to give a grace period. I'm trying to work this out. I'm trying to see if my daughter will call home, call somebody, check in with somebody. And she didn't. She didn't call in until that Thursday evening. Friday, she was supposed to pick up some money. But you're only calling in because you know you're going to pick up this money. And I just didn't trust that. So I put in a missing persons report. I want it to stop. I want her to go to school. I want her to have a skill. I want her to take and be responsible for her baby. But when she's out and free and able to just go and do what she pleases, she's not going to do it. She needs a structure.
Ms. Foster, do you want her to come home?
I'm not able to give her that structure that she needs. So I'm going to have to say no. I can't be there 24/7. I can't give her what she needs right now. she had changed. But now that certain people came into her life, which was the young lady that she considers her cousin, which is not a cousin, she's done a complete turnaround.
And you think that's the negative influence on her as her cousin?
Yes.
What about her boyfriend?
Well, the boyfriend isn't doing anything, but they were staying put. I mean, I don't want my house to be a hotel. I don't want it to be a baby-making factory. I want them both to be productive individuals, and neither one of them are moving. They're not good for each other because one doesn't motivate the other. They just choose the easiest path, which is, let's have a good time. And that's not what life is about. They're too old for that.
Do you think that deep down that your daughter's a good person?
She is. She can be.
Do you love your daughter?
I love her, and I know that she's not happy with me. I know she may even have an emotion of hate right now because I'm choosing the decision that I'm choosing. But hopefully, in the end, it will benefit her and her baby because now, if the court deems it necessary, she'll be in a facility that can facilitate every move she makes so that she completes at least the GED program and maybe instruct her into a skill so that when she gets out into society, she won't be another statistic. She won't have a child who I have to take care of because I want her to raise her own daughter. You know, and that's what I want for my child. I want it for the young man because he's a good guy, but he just does not have the motivation to do what he needs to do, which is not good for her because the two of them together don't make a positive. They actually clash and make a negative.
Ms. Foster, is there any set of circumstances under which you would say it's appropriate to have your daughter come home with you today with appropriate court-ordered restrictions in terms of when and where she can go, orders that she return to court for future court proceedings, and possibly an ankle bracelet or some type of other monitoring device that rather than keeping her out of your house, she'd be allowed to stay in your house, but with the support that you yourself said is what is needed to help her out, given that at the end of the day, she's still a good kid, but she needs that structure. Would that be something that would be acceptable to you?
It doesn't cover the fact that the young man can come in and out of the house whenever he feels. Yeah, that'll keep her put, but will it stop him and her coming in and out of the house? She can sit there and say, yeah, I'm not going to have him come in, I'm not going to have him come in. But if we're not at home, what happens? Children are going to be children. So in turn, if that young man keeps coming over, she's going to end up with another baby.
So what do you think should happen to her?
I want her in a place where she can get educated and skilled without the deterrence of any person or anything else.
Thank you.
It's
That's all the
not-
questions I
okay.
have, Judge.
Mrs. Guzik, any questions?
Are there provisions in the family for caring for the baby if Kenyatta's out of the picture?
Yes,
Okay, so you can work that out?
yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Thank you. You may have a seat back there. Any other witnesses, Mr. Ross?
Judge, no.
Mrs. Guzik, anything?
No, Judge.
I am compelled to comment about a few things here with you, Kenyatta. I think first of all, you talked about what went on with you and your mother, that you were disrespectful and you cussed your mother out. And you said everybody does it. I got news for you, sweetie. Not everybody cusses their parent out, okay? I mean, that's not the way normal childhood takes shape. I mean, I didn't cuss my parents out, and I'm venturing to say, well, I'll leave Mrs. Guzik out. I'm just teasing you, Mrs. Guzik. But I would venture to say that normal family situations, the child doesn't cuss the mother out. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, and is equal importance, is you going out and taking your baby and you guys staying out all night. And then what you said, and I wrote it down because it sort of shocked me when I heard it come out of your mouth, that you were getting agitated with the baby. Excuse me, you're getting agitated with the baby, which is why you dropped the baby off at the baby's father's mother's house, the paternal grandmother's house, because the baby was agitating you, and you needed some me time. I got news for you about that. When you decide to have a baby, there is no more me time. The me time goes out the window when you decide to have a baby, and I agree with your mother. you can't be bringing a boy into the house because you're just going to get pregnant again, which leads me to my next point. Do you use birth control?
It's still in me now. It didn't go out my system.
What are you talking about? You get the shot?
I get the shot,
And how often do you take that? Every 3 months?
yes.
And you're going to continue to take the shot, are you not?
I have to.
Your mother's shaking her head no. Yes, ma'am.
Her 3-month shot was over in, I believe it was end of May or beginning of June. I tried. I even took her to, I'm not going to take the shot. That's not good for me. I'm not going to take the shot. And she refused to take the shot. When I did take her, she went for a pregnancy test. And unfortunately, because of our income, the shot wasn't available anyway. But she's still talking about she's not taking the shot. She's not responsible to take the pills. She doesn't want the implants. So to me, that looks like you're trying to have a baby because they are not responsible. Either one of them are not responsible.
Does he have a baby yet?
No.
No,
What about the father of your baby? Does he have other children?
no.
So why don't you want to take the shot?
Because at first, after I had my baby, I didn't want to take it in the first place. But I went on ahead and did it because my mom wanted me to take the depot shot, to be honest. I didn't
Okay.
want to take it in
So-
the first place.
All right. Do you think you need to have another baby?
No, I do not.
So what are you going to do about birth control? If you don't want to take the shot, what is your choice for birth control?
I might as well go ahead and take the shot then. I'm not trying to have another baby because that's what she's thinking. I'm trying to have another baby. And it's
Because
not
I can
the
tell you
case.
right now, I'm going to order today that you be placed, and your baby's going to have to stay with your mother, but I'm going to order the welfare department to investigate the baby when I hear that you're taking a baby out all night long, leaving the baby here, leaving the baby there. Then you leave the baby with the uncle who's 18. Did I hear
His-
that? You're leaving
his-
your baby with an 18-year-old boy?
No, his mother was there. She was going to go to work. When she's at work, he's always watching her. If her biological father is not there, he's watching her. That's why she asks me all the time if it's okay, whenever I drop her off, if her oldest son, can watch her while she's at work. That's why. So
her oldest son, who's 18.
they both
right?
watch him.
How old is the father of the baby?
He's 17.
So he's not even 18 yet.
No. So if
You
he's
need to
out,
get on birth control. The last thing you need is another kid. Any closing remarks, Mr. Ruck?
Judge, I think that this is certainly an unfortunate set of circumstances that brings us here today. And I would just ask that the court consider that this is, until any of us walk a mile in Kenyatta's shoes, it's very difficult for us to put ourselves in the position of somebody who is a child, raising a child, dealing with all the family conflicts that we've heard about today. The question for the court is, what's appropriate for her as we move forward? At first, Kenyatta says she wants to go home. She swears she's going to do better. I agree. We've all heard that before. We look then to the family. Mom at first says, no, she can't come home. She needs structure. I think hearing more about the available options that the court has might have influenced at least the stepfather a little bit, and given his willingness to at least consider accepting Kenyatta back, I think is in her best interest, given the fact that we're dealing with 2 children, not just 1.
Thank you. Mrs. Cusick, anything?
Well, Judge, I think that Kenyatta in her youth is a very selfish person. And I think we're seeing that and hearing that today in court, the response to something that her stepfather was saying, well, I'll still keep calling him the boyfriend. What I haven't heard today in here at all is I miss my baby, I want to go home. I want to be with my baby. I haven't heard any of that come out of her mouth. I think Kenyatta's going to keep doing what she wants to do, and to whatever extent the court can help her to progress in a more positive manner, the court has to do that. But I think she's of a mindset right now that she knows what's best for her. She really doesn't want to take birth control. She really doesn't want to get her GED. It doesn't sound like. She really doesn't want to distance herself from this boy that's young and doesn't have an education, and at this point, no prospects either. So I think she's too young to understand what's in her best interest and the court needs to step in to assist her.
Thank you. Today, what the court will do is find probable cause to believe that this young lady is in need of services. I'll assume formal jurisdiction, order the Department of Child Services to file a petition within 7 days. The court will order the following, that no matter where she's placed, that Kimyata be provided parenting classes, that she begin the process of working on her GED. I will order that the department also investigate the situation of the baby, whose name I'll take in a moment. But in the meantime, I'll order that home builders be placed in the home if she is returned home to the mother and the father. I will order that the boy not be allowed in the home unless you give the Fosters, Mr. and Mrs. Foster, give him permission to be there. I think we would all be silly to think that we're going to forever forbid her to see this boy or talk to this boy. I mean, we know it's inevitable. It's just you would like to control the circumstances that exist when she does visit him, and that doesn't mean behind your parents' back, because all that does is tell them you can't be trusted. So if you want to change and you want to prove that, then you need to let them control when he gets to come over. So I'll order that he be allowed to come over or have contact with Kimyata as they see fit, since you're the parents, and she's going to be 18 in a couple of months, so you'll have to work on how that's going to be. I'm going to order that you go to the doctor and that you address your issue of birth control. One issue is you may stop having sex. Then you don't have to worry about birth control. There is such a thing as abstinence till you decide to get married. But again, those of us that think that might be a little silly, so we need to get you to a doctor to make sure that you don't have yet another baby, because you're not doing real well with the one you have. So the court's going to order parenting classes, get involved with her GED, restrictions on when she can see the young man to be decided upon by the parents. If the parents decide not to take her home with them today, I'm going to order that she be placed on or before 4 p.m. today at Alternative House, and they'll provide those services. And last but not least, I'm going to order individual and family counseling. Okay? I guess you would assume, Kimyata, that if you don't follow the rules of your parents' home and not allowing him to come over, I'm going to order that you be placed outside the home. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any questions? All right. Then this hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Okay. Kim, I'll be in touch with
One
you.
last thing, I'm going to point a cause that
what they
represents the
decide.
child.
Okay?
Because I have the option of placing her somewhere other than home, I think that they need a little bit of a wait time so that they can get into some counseling. So I was, midway through, I had already decided, unless they were adamant about taking her home, and that's where she wanted to be, that's where mom wanted to be. But if history has taught me anything, it's taught me that when you get to a point with a 17-year-old with a 3 or 5-month-old baby who's kind of running around doing what she wants to do, mom's fed up. And there's not a whole lot that's going to get her back to where the daughter wants her to be, which is, oh, let me come home and forgive me and trust me. The daughter's done too much to breach that trust. So I think that they need to be in counseling, and hopefully that'll work. If not, they've got a long time of hurt coming, because she's only 17, and this will not be her last baby either.
Okay, so you've not made a decision yet right now?
Give me just a few more minutes.
Okay.
Because it's a lot involved. It's not just cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's a pattern, and a pattern. And yes, the baby's involved, but it's just a pattern that I see. And so she comes home. She's good for a little while. Is it really going to help her? Is she really going to do these things?
Because if my dad would never went up there, I think I'd be going to placement right now at 4 o'clock. So they're talking about it now, and I know deep inside, with his help and him testifying, that I'll be going home and be placed on house arrest.
What do you think is her mother?
What's best for her?
Yeah.
Thank you so
Placement.
much. Thank you, as a mother.
Placement.
Not with you?
She doesn't respect me.
Is that your decision?
That's my decision.
Okay. I'll let the judge know.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay,
All
thanks,
right,
guys.
thank you.
In court today, we heard both from your mom, and we heard also from your stepdad. And your stepdad talked a lot about, I think, his desire to have you come home with some restrictions. Unfortunately, your mom decided that that wouldn't be in your best interest. She made the decision that you need to have outside placement, at least for the time being. So the court's order that you be placed at the alternative house in Gary is going to go into effect today at 4 o'clock tonight. Okay? Do you have any questions about that?
How long I'm gonna be up in there?
Well, the court didn't say how long, but at least for the time being. I mean, there's no, the court didn't put an end date in place, so until maybe some counseling and things can take place between you and your mother, while you're still underage, if you can't go to your mother, you're going to have to be in placement.
Oh well. Stuff crazy. So did she say how long she wanted me up in there?
Your mom?
Yeah.
No. Your mom said that you need a lot of structure right now and that your history of breaking the rules is something that's not likely to change. And she thinks it'll do you good in the long run to learn your lesson this way.
Good morning. This is the matter of Kenyatta Durr. Let the record show that Attorney Guzik is present from the prosecutor's office. Ms. Clayton is present from the intake department. Attorney Ruck is present. Attorney representing Kenyatta. Would you state your name, please?
Kenyatta Durr.
And how old are you, Kenyatta?
I'm 17 years old.
All right. Your name, ma'am?
Kimberly Foster.
And are you her mother?
I am.
All right. This matter is set this morning at the request of Attorney Ruck. Mr. Ruck, you filed a motion with this court asking the court to reconsider placement of this young lady. Is that right?
Correct, Judge. I remember when we were here a couple of weeks ago, the court ordered that Kenyatta either be released to the care and custody of her mother, and if that wasn't an option, that some other placement location be found. That's what happened, obviously, because mother at the time was uncertain whether or not she was able to have Kenyatta home. Since that time, mother and Kenyatta, I know, have met and talked, and mother herself has reflected a little bit on the decision that she made and believes now that it's in Kenyatta and her best interest to have Kenyatta released back into mother's custody today.
All right. I assume you have witnesses to testify to that.
2 witnesses, Judge. First, I would call Kimberly Foster to the stand.
All right. Ms. Foster?
Tell us your name.
Kimberly Foster,
What is your relationship to Kenyatta?
Kenyatta's mother.
And you were in court a couple of weeks back for the initial hearing we had in this case. And at that time, you indicated that you felt you really couldn't commit to taking Kenyatta home with you. Do you remember that?
I do.
Tell us
And
what's
that is
happened.
correct.
Tell us what's happened since then.
During that short time, I have made phone calls, done some research, finagled and moved around schedules. My husband has a day shift, which is the AM, and I have the afternoon, PM, so that there could be someone in the home, because I felt it was the best interest of Kenyatta, along with the family and her daughter, for her to be more at home. And with the judge's things that she had written out for Kenyatta, as far as mandatory birth control, all the things that were worked out last time, if she could still, Your Honor, have those in place, I would appreciate it. During my research, I also located some daytime GED programs, but it would have to be court ordered. I don't know if you would be able to do that for us, but it would be in the best interest of the family if she could possibly be in the daytime GED program. I've really made effort to try and make it conducive for everyone so that Kenyatta could come home.
Why did you do all of those things and make all of those changes?
Because I love my daughter. And it's in the best interest of her baby. And I want to see her excel. And placing her somewhere, putting her somewhere else, or it's just not, I don't feel it would work as well as us bending, flexing, and trying to mold it and make it a family effort.
So you've changed your schedule in an effort to provide more structure at home,
Yes,
correct? You think
more
that-
supervision.
Okay. Have you met with Kenyatta or talked with her since she's been away?
Yes, I have.
Tell me about that.
She's been very understanding. She understands what she has done, and however the judge pleases, however she makes her decision, Yada understands that it was her behavior that put her in this situation. She places no blame on anyone. She has some maturing to do, but other than that, she's been fine.
Your husband shares your sentiment?
Oh, yeah, he shared it way before I did, so we came together and we worked it all out.
You've got Kenyatta's baby, correct?
I do.
Have you had the baby since we were in court last?
Yes,
How's that gone?
it's fine. It's a change. I mean, I have 3 other children. I'm a mother. It just falls into place. It just falls into place. And it's been fine. Daycare is fine. The baby's father has been really active in the times that I need him to babysit along with the grandmother. So everything worked out fine. It's not even a factor of me needing her home to be the babysitter per se, but it's just nurturing. She needs to raise her baby. That's her baby. That's her responsibility, along with being a productive adult, responsible adult, and responsible for herself and her decisions that she made. And I believe being at home, along with the structure of the court and any provisions made to help her, would achieve those.
That's all the questions, Judge.
Mrs. Guzik, anything?
Just very briefly, ma'am, last time we were in court, you had some concerns about Kenyatta and the present boyfriend. Have your new plans lessened those fears?
Yes, it has. I spoke with the gentleman's guardian. She has she's well understood that they are not to, he's not to be there unless there has been provisions made. He himself and her have worked out where he's taken some applications in and he's going to be in the GED program in Maryville. So along with their separation, which I knew would help, they have started steps on their own.
I have no further questions, Judge.
I have just one or two. These GED programs that you mentioned
Yes.
that need to be court ordered, how will Kenyatta get there? Have you thought about that?
Somewhat. There's one vehicle, I'm not for sure what the agencies would be able to help me with. Those things, I figured we'd work those out as they come.
I see.
And the Area Career Center is only a short distance from the home.
Okay.
But in token, I'm still working those out. I'm working that out. I haven't quite figured all that out yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You may have a seat back there.
Thank you.
Next witness, Mr. Rock.
Briefly, I would call Kenyatta to the stand, Your Honor. Go ahead.
From the statement that the lady, I don't know your name, in the light blue, about my baby. The reason why I didn't bring my baby up in court because I don't want to use her as an excuse to get out of my situation. I do love my baby and I care about it a lot, but I'm not gonna go around in life using my baby as an excuse every time I get in trouble or anything like that, because I told my mom about that and I felt very, very bad on that statement that you said, and it hurt me really bad because I do love my baby a lot, and it's a lot of young girls that's my age that don't care about their baby and just go out and just do whatever. But I have tried a lot in my progress, and that really hurting me so bad because I do love my baby. But I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat anything to put my baby in a situation, make me come home quicker. Yes, I know I was wrong in the things that I was doing, and I put myself in that situation, but I'm not finna sit here and keep bringing up my baby constantly so I can go home. Yes, I do need to go home with my child, but I have to get myself together also, and I would love to go home and start over again because I know I can succeed. That's all I just wanted to add.
No questions, Judge.
Mrs. Guzik, any questions?
I don't remember what I said, Judge, about the baby.
I think I remember what you said.
But I just want Kenyatta to understand my concern is always for the baby. She's a helpless individual. You can make your own judgments and do things. She is just a victim to whatever an adult in her life wants, or the older people in her life want to do to her or for her or with her. So my concern is always the baby, and if you're acting out of her concern first and foremost, that's the only thing I want to see happen. So if even my comments make you do that, then I've accomplished what I want.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell me, Kenyatta? No? Okay, have a seat next to
Judge,
you.
I suppose I should just ask the one question. Do you want to go home today with your mother, Kenyatta?
Yes.
Okay. That's all that I have, Judge.
Mr. Ruck, anything else?
Judge, I think Kimyata has done what we hope happens when somebody is not released home to their parent, and that's that they sit and they reflect and they think not just about what they did, but what the people in this courtroom told her. And it seems to me, with Kimyata's own testimony, without the benefit of even there being a question before her, that she really wanted to get that off of her chest, has really thought about this, and has really reflected. And I think, given that, Judge, that it became clear to me that the structure's in place at home. Kimyata's ready to take responsibility for herself and her child, and the court should reconsider at this point releasing her to her mother today.
All right. What I want, when Ms. Foster testified, she said that I ordered mandated birth control. Let me say, first and foremost, that's not what I ordered. I ordered that she explore her options for birth control. I mean, this is a young lady who's 17, how old is your baby, 5 months?
6.
6 months old, and I think when I asked her, she said that she didn't really like taking the shots, and she didn't really want to take that form of birth control. And it was my thought that the responsible thing to do at age 17, although I know sometimes kids aren't as responsible as we would like them to be, is that since you already have one baby, that you explore the options for birth control. Abstinence works for me, okay? I think that if you decided not to have sex anymore till you're married, that would be the right thing to do. But that being said, I'm not so certain you're going to do that. So you need to discuss that with your mother and your doctor as to what form of birth control, if any, you choose to do. You choose to use, because as you know, it's very difficult raising a baby, especially when you're 17, okay? But I did make some other orders, and it was for family counseling, individual counseling. I ordered that home builders be placed in the home if and when Kimyata returns to you, and that that she, obey the rules of your household. So today what the court will do is grant your request and order that she be released from the Alpha Center and returned to your custody. I will order that the Department of Child Services provide home builder services in your home to assist you, and I'll order that she have individual and family counseling to resolve the issues that are obvious from the last hearing, and they seem to be a little bit better. But being away from home can do that for you sometimes. So we need to get those services in the home to make sure that all of you work on what your issues are so that we don't find ourselves back here again. Any other questions? All right, then I'll order that you be released to your mother, and this hearing's adjourned. Good luck.
Going home.
Well, I'm feeling it's going to be a challenge. Nothing is easy, so you're going to have to work at it. It's in the best interest of the baby along with Kimyata, and hopefully she'll work the program and she won't be back in here. And it's still up to her. No matter what I've put forth and what I've done for her, she still has to work it.